This is not American Bandstand, and there's no music.
It isn't?
No.
Well, we cannot have music. We're going to be demonetized, so you know. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Urban Homesteading Channel with Professor DIY, Mrs. DIY, and Elpida. Today we're going to tackle another house project. Is that what we'll call it, the house project?
Decorating.
But we are going to use better quality lumber. We're not going to go to our standard
Pine.
dimensional lumber. So we're going to use maple and walnut and hickory. No, maple and cherry, or maple and hickory. What are we using?
I don't think you
We're
got
going
any.
to say yes, we're using it.
Yeah, whatever.
We're using different things, different
Yeah,
woods,
yeah.
a little more exotic wood. So stick around. This is going to be another very fun episode, and you're still my favorite viewer. So we look at our supply of boards to decide the one we like the most, right? And we have some really interesting boards actually.
Yeah.
And Mrs. DIY liked the one I'm holding the most.
Yeah, I think it's very pretty.
All right. So we're going to set up, make the initial cuts, and we'll show you everything we do as we go along. So today, using some maple and some hickory, we're going to build this whimsical shelf. Again, a piece of board is a shelf, but we wanted to have a little bit more of a feel to it, an architectural element to it, right? Mm-hmm. So if you stick around, we're going to show you every step of the way, so you can build one exactly like that, or even a better one than this. So friends, welcome to our very well organized and very clean shop. As you can see, we have labored over our shop and we have made it perfect. Right, Elpida?
Yes.
I'm kidding. It is a working shop. It is never perfect, right? But it was good as long as it lasted.
You got a lot of stuff, man.
I do have a lot of stuff. And as always, we are going to go just above the wood height because we feel that is the most accurate way of doing it. Now, we haven't measured anything yet, but we know we want square stock. So to make square stock, we wanted this dimension square, whatever this dimension is. So we're going to put it next to our fence. We're going to move our fence to our blade, kiss our blade. Do you like that?
Yep.
Lock our blade, and now this is going to give us square stock. Hopefully we won't be wasteful. Hopefully we'll be close to the half point, right?
Yeah. Well, even if there's a small piece, I'm sure we will find a use for it because we like to use scraps for projects.
We're the scrap channel. Here we are with our perfect squares, and I want to explain the method to my madness. If you were watching what I was doing, I first made the cut like this, right? Mm-hmm. And when I complete it, I turn it. And the reason I did that is because these are 4S boards, so the edges are perfect from the factory. And even though we really like our blade, if there is any deficiency in cutting, you multiply it by using what you just cut. So I'm using the factory blade to make sure that our squares are pretty perfect, and I think they are. What do you think, ladies?
I think they look good.
Excellent. We need to cut one more, and then we're going to have, we think, enough of the pieces. The quick, very smooth, burn-free cut is a very consistent feeding through the tables of blade. As you can see here, I keep the same pace throughout, and the cuts are actually perfect. There are no burn marks, there are no imperfections in the cut, and as we show you, it is exactly the same as the perfect factory edge. With a good blade, you can achieve fantastic results even with a saw like this. And really, I cannot see a difference, which I think we're making a very good cut. It's just that is a way to ensure it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But look at this. We have to do something neat with these.
Yeah, we have 3 of them.
Cool.
All right. So we've set the stop block so we can make repetitive cuts that they are going to be very accurate, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to cut them all in the same length. And here is where I made my mistake. I was maximizing the wood I have in hand, and I was not calculating the length I needed to keep true to my original design.
So now we have all the pieces cut, and we're going to the assembly table.
And guess what I lost again?
So all of the pieces have been cut to the correct exact length.
With scary precision, actually.
There we go.
Well, a little fuzzies that we have to clean in one piece, but it doesn't get much better than this, ladies and germs.
Right.
And this
And
actually...
there's your drink.
Ah, you hit it, I see.
No, you're the one who literally put it on this table.
And this is giving me an idea.
Another one?
Yeah, like a little tray look.
Uh-huh.
A little space in between.
Yeah,
What do you think?
yeah.
We're not going to build that, gentlemen, ladies, but
Gentlemen, ladies, yes. But that's your idea for a future project.
yeah, don't you think that kind of neat?
Yeah, it is.
What do you think this is good, right? Better separation there, but...
Okay.
All right. So we have all our pieces ready, and we're going to start an assembly process here. We need multiples of what we're going to build, right?
Right.
Would that be easier to be outside so we can brad nail it? It would be impossible to brad nail it this way. And we're going to use some wood glue, quick and thick tight bond. Again, tight bond, we are not sponsored by you, but we will take a sponsorship because we give you a lot of our money. Maybe it's time for you to give you some of yours, right? The glue is what provides the strength here. The brad nail is there to keep it aligned until the glue dries so we can continue working on the project. With perfect alignment and very good result. Now we're going to do that another million ways, another million times, and we're going to show you all the finished ones.
What's the difference on this one?
So as you can see, we have a little bit of opening here on this piece. Not huge, but the ladies want to address it. So we're going to clamp it. We're going to apply a little bit of a clamping force to see if we can improve it or maybe even take it apart. We'll see how good we are, right? We did leave the clamp on for about 40 minutes, and that is plenty of time for this thick and quick glue to dry and give us a very good outcome. In the end, we were very pleased with what we achieved, both gluing and brad nailing.
I think it's going in there.
With our L's. And you notice that when you join them at a butt like that, you've got one side that's longer and one side that's shorter. That's because when you match it up, you'll have something adjoining that will make it the same length. So we started like this, and we put, it wants to topple over. There we go. You need to make sure that you have, on any given side, you have one long piece and one very short piece. The key to assembly is to alternate the long and short pieces. And of course the pieces are cut the same dimension, but because we butt join them, one side ends up being longer than the other. That's what we mean. What Mrs. DIY is touching now
is actually the normal size piece, so that will be considered a short piece. And again, you can see here what he was pointing is a long piece, and the one that is horizontal is actually the short piece. You need to alternate those pieces to make the shape we're going for, as you can see we are doing here, and it is the only tricky part.
So all of these pieces are cut to the approximate 6-inch length, but
Right.
the way we're assembling them is so that they are basically on a round. So that you're going to have the long piece butting up against another long piece, butting up against another long piece, and they butt up against each other, and then they create the framework. And we've got this one already assembled. And again, they're all the same length pieces, but it's how you butt them up against
It's
each
kind of
other.
a running
Yeah,
pattern.
It's on a round.
And from this angle, it looks like a hexagon.
A hexagon.
Sexagon.
A hexagon?
Oh gosh.
Okay, so we've got one assembled, and now we need to do the second one, and we'll come back and show you
The
what that
dimensions we're giving are for us, and the only important piece is that all those pieces are the same dimension, whatever dimension that is, right? And this cannot be really much longer than the width of your saw. Otherwise, this device would protrude. We'll show you in a moment. So here is our first dry assembly. In Houston, we have a problem. We misdesigned something.
Well, we miscalculated the length of the brackets.
These brackets, yeah. They needed to be a little smaller by about a 3/4 or about an inch, probably would be better, right?
Right.
So if you make it, make sure that you make these pieces an inch smaller than your width.
Right.
Again, the overall length doesn't make a difference.
Right. Or if we had a wider board, it wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
Right. The idea, what we had in mind was to notch the shelf so that it sit flush against the wall. But with this piece and the mismatch between the lengths of these pieces, it's not going to be possible, because if we push it back even a little bit, it's going to, be out of alignment with the front here. So we have another idea to make this work for us that is still aesthetically pleasing. And so we're going to create a little hack here.
The hack here.
A hack. So this is a spare piece from what we cut off of the first pieces we cut, and we're going to just insert that. It fits perfectly in the gap, and it's the same dimension, and so we're going to use that as a little bit of a filler to bring the shelf out to the edge.
But not this full length. We're
Right.
just going to cut a piece.
We're going to cut it off right here so that it's fairly hidden, and it looks, and the illusion is it's out floating away from the bracket.
Since our saw is already set at 3/4, the distance here is 3/4, we are going to cut a 3/4 piece. And again, this is a cut that if you do not feel comfortable, please don't do, right? Also, make sure you are not in the path, because this is a tiny piece. There is a good chance that this is going to fly off as we cut it. Was that good or what?
Yeah,
Now we have to find the piece.
down the piece. Okay.
Again, as I said, this was predictable, right? Because
Right. Okay.
small piece.
So let's see how that fits into the shelf. Come along with us as we walk over here.
Looks pretty good to me.
Yeah. Okay. So now we have both pieces, and as you can see, that's gonna help give that illusion of floating while still giving it the strength.
Yep.
And so far, I think this looks really awesome. I love the hickory grain.
So we're gluing the small spacers where they need to be. Again, this provides no structural integrity to the piece. It is just there for aesthetics, right? Aesthetics is a very important of this piece, but not for every piece you make. And again, if we have not told you this, no one would know. Woodworkers like to point out their mistakes, even though the vast majority of people that would look at your piece will never know it was a mistake. They might wonder what you were doing, but they will not know it was a mistake, right? So now we have decided on a side we want up, and we are going to continue. What would not be our channel if we didn't sand it at least a little bit.
Yeah, there are just a few little rough edges. You know, this is a factory piece of wood, but I want it to be buttery soft.
But of course, madam. And are you finishing it, or we're leaving it like that and protecting it with some folio or something, or what?
I haven't decided yet. I'll let you know in a few minutes.
Okay. So, Mrs. Gerwine, how much sanding these pieces need?
Not much. Not much. There was a little bit of roughness to it, but just a light sanding has been able to bring it right off.
And is hickory any different to sand than pine?
It is. The pine sanding, it takes off like bigger pieces when you sand. I'm not sure how to, like bigger particles, I should say. This is very, very dense, and so it's almost like a powdery, what you get off of the wood when you sand it.
Okay. So we're done with the sanding, and we're ready to, it's still not attached. We're going to attach it, and depending on how heavy the material you're going to put on it is, you might want to strengthen it in different ways. Our main strength will be a screw that goes from the back to this piece, and that is plenty for what we plan to put, which is really knickknacks, crystals and seashells, and nothing really heavy. We don't plan to put books here, and that is sufficient. Now, a couple of other things you could have done. You could have used another piece of hickory and make this wider, and then we could have followed the original plan of actually making these knots and the self being all the way touching the back, right? So in many ways you can choose to do it. We chose this way because we think it has the most visual interest. So we're making pilot holes for our screws because they are small pieces of wood, so we do not want to split them. Or do you want the less powerful one?
These are some finished screws. They take a T10 bit to drive them in. We're using it to add some additional structural strength.
Now, if you wanted that to be a floating shelf, you could put a rod here and then put it straight on the wall with a rod.
Okay.
We plan to put a small attachment here. We could have put a keyhole.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that.
But now, next step, now that we have this all together and
It's staining.
everything, the next step is staining.
This is the stain we chose. Again, you don't have to choose the same stain. From this point forward, everything is a matter of preference and what matches your decor. We are going with this stain. And again, we're using Minwax. Minwax is not sponsoring us. We bought this. But you can see here, we are using this piece as a stirrer, and will also be the piece that will show us what it will look like,
Right.
because it's the same type of wood. Finishing can be frustrating and requires a whole different skill than woodworking does. You're going to see that we did not like this finish, so we did not use it, and that is part of the process. This is giving us a general idea, but you will not really know for sure until it is on the piece, right? But does that look like what you wanted?
Not necessarily.
Does it look like you can live with?
We'll see. I'm thinking about it.
Don't we have another lighter stain? Maybe?
It's so hard to judge from a swatch in the hardware store. The picture that's on the can doesn't always do it justice either.
It's pretty similar, actually.
And then, you know, how the wood absorbs the stain also is a variable in how it will look.
And how many covers you're going to make.
Right. So,
All right. We decided against this stain, and of course that's something that you do every now and then. I'm sure we'll use it in another project somewhere. But for this project, we might go back to our supply of stain. Our stash.
Our regularly scheduled supply versus a freshly purchased one.
Yep. You win some, you lose some. So we have some stain from a project we did a couple of projects back, and we decided to go for this stain this time. Stain is fairly expensive, so be careful with your choices. Again, the process will be the same. I won't bore you. We need to stir it.
and no, it's not purple.
It isn't?
No, it's just a semi-transparent stain. So it's a very light color, and when you first open it up, it looks gray or purple, but it puts just a light sheen on it. And I'm going to test it again on our scrap piece.
Okay. Staining is a creative and artistic process, and I've always enjoyed how the character of the wood just pops out as you stain, no matter the quality of the wood. This is higher quality wood than the wood we usually show you, which is dimensional lumber, but even dimensional lumber comes alive with the appropriate stain. Mrs. DIY wanted a subtle marking here. She did not want a very strong stain, and this stain does exactly that. It brings the character of the wood out without overstating the piece. This has been the approach we're using for staining for a few years now, and we like it. Other people use either brushes. Some of them are using the bristleless brushes, some one with bristles, but find what works for you and just keep doing that thing. For us, this seems to be working very well, and as I said, I always enjoy the details of the wood that pop up that maybe you have not noticed before, just as you're staining. Like in this very piece, the big knot in the middle pops out beautifully with the stain and changes color, because the subtleness of the color change was not as clear before the staining process started. So while you can keep everything normal, natural, you can also stain any piece you might desire to do.
So this is the whole piece stained with this light gray wash. Very nice.
So friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we try to show you that a project doesn't have to go perfectly in order to be a good project in the end. This is what we started in our mind with a couple of minor modifications, but the end result is that we have a shelf for our bathroom to hold some knickknacks and decorate the bathroom. So the end goal has been achieved, and I think that's part of the lesson. Not everything has to go absolutely perfect. From Professor DIY, Mrs. DIY, and Elpida, let's build something together.